7 years passed between the release of Ratatouille and the Lego movie. That isn't a lot of time, at least when it comes to movies. Both were released within the span of a decade. Despite that, these two movies have remarkably different themes that reflect a general cultural shift as well. First, a brief synopsis. Ratatouille, this movie is about a rat. One particular rat, Remy, wants to be a cook. He has always had a passion for food, and he is able to savor and experiment with food, unlike those of his kin. He is something of an oddball, and his choices lead to him being separated from his family, surviving with only his wits and an imaginary mentor in the human world. Fortunately for Remy, his skills prove useful to Linguini, who has no talent but accidentally convinced the kitchen that he does. The two work together to keep this illusion going, with everything eventually falling apart as Remy reckons with his rat identity and Linguini being unable to keep the act up on his own. It is only when the two accept their respective identities, Remy as a rat who can cook, and Linguini as Gusteau's son who can't cook, that they are able to build something lasting. And even then, they lose the restaurant. The Lego movie is quite different. Emmett is a man so ordinary that he is forgotten by those in his everyday life. He is described as nothing, a man vacant of personality or any unique characteristics. Despite this, Emmett is roped quite suddenly into a large conspiracy to overthrow the government, who have taken steps to stop all creativity. The villain's ultimate goal in the Lego movie is order. I would say the movie's themes here make sense. It is dissection of the tension between freedom and structure, and how overemphasis on one leads to the decrease of the other. But there is a second theme in the character of Emmett. Going back to Ratatouille, the conclusion of the movie can only come when Remy has come to accept his identity as a rat, and his realization that his identity can coincide with his identity as a cook. He is the embodiment of Gusteau's long-held belief: anyone can cook. Anton Ego, the movie's antagonist, long criticized Gusteau's motto. When Remy turns his heart with the humble peasant dish, he realizes Gusteau's true meaning, and he makes a closing speech in the movie that has become iconic. I quote directly, "Not everyone can become a great artist, but a great artist can come from anywhere." Remy, despite being a rat, was a great artist. His cooking rivaled that of his inspiration Gusteau. He was this movie's special, an extraordinary talent coming from an ordinary setting. The Lego movie took this premise and turned it on its head. Emmett is quite ordinary. Where Remy stood out in his society, Emmett blends in perfectly. He has no real talent, even when he is declared the special by Vitruvius, a wizard who had made the prophecy about the special. The only unique idea he is able to come up with is a double-decker couch, and when the heroes are finally cornered and Vitruvius is dealt a fatal blow, he admits that he made up the prophecy altogether. Now, this is not the end of the story. Emmett ends up doing extraordinary things, such as sacrificing himself in order to shut down the Craggle. He defeats the villain by talking to him and convincing him not to glue everyone in place forever. In the process, he even becomes a master builder. He was a special, but he first had to believe himself to be so. With that, he unlocked his hidden talents and freed the world. This is a fundamentally different message from Ratatouille. It is a very different thing to reconcile one's talent and identities, and it is quite another to be bestowed an identity and subsequently gain talent. As you might imagine, I do have an issue with one of these views. Ratatouille's message is, of course, my preference. It is a very realistic view of the world. We are given a set amount of talent when we enter this world, and we are given our identities. These identities, cultural, national, political, build who we are, and the change of these identities over time can change us as well. These changes can create new values, improve our lives, and give us wisdom to live rightly. The Lego movie is right in this sense. We can be given new identities and can change as a result. The issue is that talent is not built the same way. I differentiate talent from skill here. Skills can be learned. No one is born, for instance, as a plumber, but one's talents, perhaps a general ability to work with your hands, will determine whether one is suited to be a plumber. The same goes for every walk of life. A love of writing does not make one a writer. Schooling and education can go far in developing that ability, but few will equal men like Tolkien or C.S. Lewis in their works. No matter how you may love a certain profession, or how much you want to be able to work in a certain setting, your talents, or lack thereof, will preempt this desire. We must reckon with our identities. We must accept who we are, and the talents we've been given, before we can make the best of our lives. Simply taking on a new identity will not change our talents. And to convince ourselves that we have those talents, to lie to the point of believing ourselves, will only lead to suffering. Anyone can cook, and a great artist can come from anywhere, but not everyone cooks well.